Before TikTok dances and Instagram likes, there were disco balls, cassette tapes, and late-night phone calls on a rotary dial. Welcome to a time when American teens didn't scroll, they cruised. When hangouts were real, music came with static and fashion. Oh, it spoke for itself. This is the story of how teens in the 70s and 80s lived large without a single notification. And guess what? They were totally cool doing it. Individuals roller skating at Venice Beach in the year 1979. Reflecting on the cherished pastimes. Fashion styles characteristic of the 1970s decade. A vintage video gaming setup evoking nostalgia for the 1980s. For young kids, a Bronx sidewalk serves as a play area. April 1973. Living comfortably. A cocktail party held on Christmas Eve in the year 1970. A dance party taking place sometime during the 1970s. Young women wearing short dresses, a common fashion trend observed in the 1970s. A vintage summer lifestyle featuring friends and cars from the 1970s. Summertime atmosphere showcasing classic automobiles and friends, 1970s. Children enjoying Reese Park, a public beach area in Brooklyn, July 1974. Wearing matching outfits. Enjoyable summer moments captured during the 1970s. If your mother acted as a makeshift ramp for your new BMX bicycle, her affection must have been profound. 1980s. A glimpse into a father's room during the 1980s decade. Teenage street fashion trends in urban areas of America during the 1980s. A midsummer evening quilting gathering in Central Park, hosted by the NYC Parks Administration's Cultural Affairs Division, June 1973. The year 1976 was quite memorable. Young people playing during the July 4th holiday at Kosciuszko Swimming Pool in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood, July 1974. Summer ambience featuring powerful muscle cars from the 1970s era. An attractive woman posing with her Pontiac Firebird automobile, late 1970s. A family enjoying a meal together at a Long John Silver's restaurant during the 1980s. School children walking home in the Great Kills area of Staten Island, May 1973. A celebration marking the new year of 1970. A Plymouth GTX automobile during the 1970s decade. The parking lot of a Burger King establishment in the early 1970s. A Jack-in-the-Box fast food restaurant as seen in 1970. Stewardesses employed by Pacific Southwest Airlines in the 1970s. Automobiles parked by the oceanfront at Daytona Beach, Florida. Can you guess the specific year? Staff members at Burger King in the 1970s. Preparing meals for passengers during flight service on Pan Am Airlines in the year 1977. Commuters traveling on the Staten Island Ferry within New York Harbor's Upper Bay, May 1973. Despite posted warnings, unlawful dumping persists in this location near the New Jersey Turnpike overlooking Manhattan, March 1973. Enjoyment set in the 1970s at Arnold's Drive-In from Happy Days, featuring Ralph Malfa's iconic roadster car. Capturing the atmosphere of a 1970s road trip, showcasing contemporary fashion and enjoyment alongside a classic muscle car. Reflecting on childhood, indicating that this, likely a payphone or similar device, functioned as their version of a mobile phone. Purchasing groceries in the 1970s, filling the car with items from an A&P store. Enjoying summer during the 1970s, strolling through a park with companions. If the essence of the 1970s could be captured in one photograph. Relaxing in the high school parking area, 1970s. When I was 11, back in 1971, I received electric football for Christmas. Entering the weekend with a characteristic 1970s style. Teenagers representative of the youth culture and styles prevalent during the year 1970. The checkout counter area within a Kroger grocery store located in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1982. The activity of purchasing groceries as it was done in 1970. a query directed at a father about the experience of living in the 1980s. Bob's Big Boy restaurant, located in Glendale, California, during the 1940s. It strongly evokes a 1970s Christmas vibe. A car frame submerged within Jamaica Bay, near Breezy Point, May 1973. Stationary traffic moving north on 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas, close to 42nd Street, April 1973. Chick-fil-A located in Greenbrier Mall, Atlanta, back in 1967. Holland Tunnel traffic congestion extending back onto Canal Street, May 1973. You can view this exact location today via Google Street View. Public payphone booths being used at Broadway and 34th Street, May 1973. History's first handheld mobile phone call occurred just 1 month before this photo, in Midtown Manhattan, April 1973, by Motorola researcher Martin Cooper to his rival Dr. Joel S. Engel at Bell Labs. The cast of a Burger King commercial featuring Sarah Michelle Gellar, Leah Thompson, and Elizabeth Shue, December 1982. A simple question posed to evoke memories or nostalgic feelings. Fashion choices worn by a family during an outing to a park in the year 1973. Scenes capturing the environment and lifestyle of Venice Beach, California, during the 1970s. Flight attendants dressed in the style typical of the 1970s. A Kentucky Fried Chicken (KFC) restaurant in the late 1960s, likely 1969. Bob's Big Boy restaurant, as it appeared in 1977. Helen Gallagher gift store, representing a typical shopping experience from the late 1960s, specifically noted as 1969. The drag racing team of Jungle Jim Lieberman shown during a pit stop sometime in the 1970s. Simply a young woman pictured with her car during the 1970s. A question asking if one has ever dined at a Sambo's restaurant. An A&P grocery store location shown as it looked during the early part of the 1970s decade. The World Trade Center rises over shipping activities on the lower Hudson River, viewed from the Staten Island Ferry, May 1973. A scene featuring elements like jogging shorts, spaghetti strap tops, an ice cream treat, and a Chevrolet automobile. The interior of a subway car covered in graffiti, May 1973. A view of Los Angeles International Airport as it appeared in 1970. A Walmart retail store as it appeared during the early years of the 1980s. Shopping for Christmas presents at a Kmart store during the late 1970s includes a query about missing Kmart at Christmas. Young Latinos at Lynch Park in Brooklyn, June 1974. On August 9, 1969, the 1000th Burger Chef restaurant location opened in Treasure Island, Florida. An intimate and cozy moment captured inside a pub, depicting friends relaxing together in a bar setting during the 1970s. A classic Ford automobile dealership depicted on a rainy evening, 1972. Depicting enjoyable summer activities characteristic of the 1970s, highlighting vibrant fashion choices and outdoor recreational play. Christmas time in Minnesota, the year 1961. A time for celebration evoking the lively atmosphere of a 1970s party and the fun shared among friends. An In-N-Out burger restaurant located in Covina, California, 1972. A Holiday Inn hotel and an adjacent Gulf service station in the early 1970s. Carol's Restaurants during the 1960s, a restaurant chain with 150 outlets across New York and Pennsylvania. A 7-Eleven convenience store as it appeared in the year 1987. '60s Christmas snow. It's the dream of every child on Christmas morning. Midtown traffic jams and pedestrians crossing unsafely, April 1973. People fishing in Sarasota, Florida during 1974. Representing the early days of computing, an office environment depicted as it might have looked in the 1970s. Water sprays from a fire hydrant behind 3 young girls located on Bond Street in Brooklyn, July 1974. Hughes Market grocery store in the greater Los Angeles area around 1969. Food served on airplanes during the 1970s. Relaxing casually at a bar, capturing the distinct 1970s atmosphere in moments of enjoyment among friends. Left, a young man in New York poised on his Honda, June 1973. Right, an elevated subway station platform in Brooklyn, NYC, June 1974. A Miller Lite beer advertisement from 1983 featuring John Madden. An A&W restaurant location pictured in the year 1970. A Kmart retail store as it looked in 1976. An oil spill encircles Liberty Island within New York Harbor, May 1973. A Red Lobster seafood restaurant pictured in the year 1989. When it's time for school photos, but there's a 73 Cutlass Supreme to sell by $345. A gathering of people in a high school parking lot, possibly 70s or 80s. A double date scenario taking place sometime in the 1970s. The bedroom belonging to a young woman, decorated in a style typical of the 1970s. A general depiction of life during the 1970s decade. A bar or lounge establishment featuring distinctive mid-century modern design elements. Getting photographs developed and processed at a Kodak shop location in 1978. Enjoyable moments at home featuring dancing and relationship building during the 1970s, including interactions with pets. A 1972 Ford Thunderbird convertible that is significantly overloaded. The Bayside area of Mission Beach in San Diego, pictured in 1971. Memories captured from a family road trip through Georgia in the 1970s. An estimated 97.2% of individuals over the age of 40 likely recognize the famous former resident of this home. Striking colors and voluminous hair representing iconic 1980s fashion. A Grant's department store during the mid-1970s. The task of grocery shopping carried out in the year 1978. Surfboards and road trips embodying the spirit of surfers in the 1960s. Building construction activity occurring on the west side of Lower Manhattan, slightly north of the WTC, May 1973. A steak and ale restaurant location featuring classic automobiles parked nearby, dating from the 1970s. In the meantime, reflecting back on events or scenes from the 1970s decade. A question asking who recalls the candy striper volunteers often seen in hospitals. On this particular day back in 1987, your school offered this meal for lunch, and receiving it was genuinely exciting. Palisades Amusement Park, situated in Bergen County, New Jersey, pictured in the year 1970. The intersection of 6th Avenue and 32nd Street in New York City, pictured in April 1973. A question asking whether one typically brought a lunch from home or ate the lunch provided by the school. Youngsters playing near graffiti referencing the train within Brooklyn's Lynch Park, June 1974. Fashion trends typical of the 1970s. Pam and Pat demonstrate their individual styles. Bed races taking place down Main Street. A team effort undertaken in chilly conditions, 1972. A scenario depicting holding one's mother's cigarette as she fastens their coat. Children frequently traveled extensive distances riding unsecured in the beds of pickup trucks fitted with camper tops. Suggesting that recognizing this individual likely means one was a teenager during the 1980s. A recollection that mothers often received small kitchen appliances as gifts. The Sahara Hotel and Casino, located in Las Vegas, Nevada, as it appeared in 1969. The disused giant slide attraction located at Coney Island, observed in May 1973. Just a regular evening scene depicted on Main Street during the 1970s, representing any typical town in the USA. Examples of food packaging used by McDonald's during the 1980s decade. Uncle John's Pancake House, situated on Telegraph Road within Redford, Michigan, in the year 1965. An outdoor drive-in movie theater pictured during the late 1960s. A nostalgic prompt asking if you recall the time when grocery stores had this particular appearance. The appliance section within a Kmart retail store as it appeared in the year 1970. A question inquiring about the specific concert these individuals might be attending. An attractive young woman posing alongside her Buick convertible car, ragtop. A motor vehicle accident that occurred on a busy street within Harlem, May 1973. Purchasing groceries at a Winn-Dixie store, representing a characteristic 1970s shopping experience. Capturing the classic atmosphere of the 1970s, characterized by long hair, bell-bottom pants, and powerful muscle cars. If you can identify this building, It implies you are familiar with the movie Ghostbusters, ain't afraid of no ghosts. Commuters awaiting a Lexington Avenue Line subway train on an NYC Transit Authority platform, April 1974. A 1973 Plymouth Barracuda 340 pictured at Harvey's restaurant located at Kennedy Road and Lawrence Avenue East in Scarborough, Ontario. While acknowledging the frustration of malfunctioning Wi-Fi, allow me to recount a tale of truly disastrous childhood proportions. A lively social atmosphere captured within a bar setting during the 1980s. Unlock your 70s memories, trends, TV, and childhood revisited. Craving a dose of pure 70s nostalgia? Remember life unplugged? We're taking a deep dive into the decade of disco, daring stunts, and distinct design. Explore the iconic and sometimes questionable fashion, the toys that spark creativity without batteries, the TV moments that became cultural touchstones, and the everyday experiences of growing up groovy. Let's relive the far-out fun of the 1970s together. The Bicentennial and Concerning Heroes. 1976 ushered in a surge of national fervor as the United States commemorated its 200th anniversary, the Bicentennial. Red, white, and blue instantly became the most fashionable color combination, and American flags proliferated everywhere. Parades animated main streets, pyrotechnics illuminated the nocturnal skies, and historical reenactments vividly resurrected the past. The Bicentennial transcended a simple party. It represented a powerful moment of collective national pride and solidarity, providing an opportunity to contemplate the nation's journey and embrace the future with renewed optimism and shared purpose. Tupperware. It felt like nearly every mother in the 70s was either hosting Tupperware parties or actively selling the products. These innovative airtight containers, often appearing in the decade's signature hues like avocado green, harvest gold, and burnt orange, became indispensable kitchen items. Their durability was legendary. They could withstand drops, stacking, even accidental sun exposure, emerging largely unscathed. Tupperware parties themselves evolved into significant social gatherings, offering women a chance to connect, converse, and potentially acquire some coveted new kitchenware, blending commerce with community. What are your favorite 70s memories? Share them in the comments below. Wood paneling. During the 70s, automobiles often served as more than mere transportation. They were definitive style declarations. And nothing quite screamed 70s aesthetic like the station wagon adorned with wood paneling. Of course, this wasn't authentic timber. It was typically vinyl applique, skillfully crafted to emulate the appearance of wood grain. But practicality often trumped authenticity. You achieved the desired look without concerns about termites or decay. These woodies reigned as the quintessential family haulers, ideally suited for transporting children, groceries, and perhaps even the occasional surfboard, embodying suburban utility. Sea monkeys. However, the 70s weren't solely defined by distinctively styled automobiles. It was also a flourishing era for comic books and magazines. Concealed within the back pages of these publications lay the advertisements that ignited countless childhood aspirations. X-ray specs, enigmatic decoder rings, and, astonishingly, even live baby chicks. Seemingly anything could be acquired via mail order. Among the most enduringly popular were sea monkeys. The advertisements depicted a wondrous underwater kingdom inhabited by charming, anthropomorphic beings. Yet, when those small packets finally arrived, the reality often proved less magical. Sea monkeys, as we discovered, were merely brine shrimp, considerably less extraordinary than their advertised personas. It served as an early lesson in marketing's persuasive power and the frequent disparity between anticipation and actuality. Patty Hearst. Consider the gripping saga of Patty Hearst. In 1974, this heiress to a vast newspaper empire was abducted by a radical faction calling itself the Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA. What transpired next was a sequence of events both bizarre and profoundly shocking. Patty, adopting the nom de guerre Tanya, appeared to fully embrace her captor's extremist ideology, going so far as to participate in armed bank robberies alongside them. The entire nation became engrossed by this unfolding drama, debating fiercely whether she was primarily a victim suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, a brainwashed collaborator, or occupied some complex space in between. Patty Hearst's subsequent trial and conviction ignited extensive discussions concerning free will, the nature of coercion, and the potent influence wielded by radical organizations. Feathered hair. Oh, that feathered hair. Thanks mostly to Farrah Fawcett, everyone, and I mean everyone, wanted that look in the 70s. Those soft wings framing the face, swept back just so. It looked effortless, but believe me, it wasn't. It took serious time with a blow dryer, a round brush, and enough hairspray to hold a small building together. And it wasn't just for the ladies. Plenty of guys were growing their hair out and feathering it back too. It was the signature hairstyle, perfectly capturing that breezy, sun-kissed, laid-back California vibe that was so popular across the USA. The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show. Now that was appointment television back in the 70s, wasn't it? Pure gold. You had Kermit, bless his fell heart, trying to steer that ship through utter delightful madness. Then Miss Piggy, all glamour and karate chops, chasing her frog. Fozzie Bear, bless him, with jokes so bad they were good, waka waka. And who could forget those two old curmudgeons, Statler and Waldorf, dishing it out from the balcony. Add in wild musical bits like Mana Mana and big-name stars hamming it up. It was just plain fun, something the whole family actually gathered around the set for. No bike helmets. Regarding bicycle safety in the 70s, helmets were virtually non-existent in common usage. Donning protective headgear wasn't merely considered unfashionable. It was often interpreted as indicating excessive caution or perhaps recovery from a prior accident. We'd readily mount our bicycles, feeling the wind rush through our hair, fully embracing the liberating sensation of the open road, accepting occasional bumps and scrapes as part of the experience. Retrospectively, this might appear somewhat careless, but it also spoke volumes about our youthful sense of invincibility, or possibly our naivete regarding potential consequences. Liquid paper. Prior to the advent of computers and the wondrous delete key, our primary recourse for correcting errors was liquid paper, colloquially known as whiteout. This diminutive bottle of opaque correction fluid acted as a savior for handwritten documents and letters. However, achieving perfection wasn't instantaneous. One had to meticulously apply the fluid over the mistake, then endure a period of waiting. And waiting for it to dry completely. Impatient students, a category encompassing most of us, often resorted to blowing vigorously on the damp patch, hoping to accelerate the drying time. While perhaps marginally effective, it also made us appear slightly comical. And truthfully, by the time the liquid paper finally solidified, the original train of thought was often long gone. Ditto machines. And who could possibly forget the highly distinctive aroma emanating from ditto machines, also known as mimeograph machines? These technological marvels of the 70s were responsible for reproducing our worksheets and homework assignments, invariably leaving a faint, characteristic purple ink stain on our fingertips. The smell itself was utterly unmistakable, a singular olfactory blend of chemicals and what has now become pure nostalgia for many who experienced it firsthand in classrooms. The metric system. During the mid-1970s, the United States government initiated a significant campaign aimed at converting the nation to the metric system of measurement. Educational institutions screened films featuring characters like the metric marvels, and we were introduced to concepts involving meters, liters, and grams. This proposed transition felt monumental, representing a potential disruption of our ingrained understanding of weights and measures. For children, it induced both confusion and a degree of apprehension. Would we ever truly adapt to thinking in terms of meters rather than feet? Ultimately, the comprehensive nationwide metric conversion never fully came to fruition, but the recollection of that attempted shift persists as a curious historical footnote from the 70s era. Short shorts. And speaking of prevailing coolness, let's discuss the trend of short shorts. These garments represented the apex of casual summer comfort, functioning as a largely unisex fashion statement that confidently embraced a certain degree of leg-bearing audacity. Both boys and girls commonly wore short shorts, frequently combined with knee-high tube socks, culminating in an ensemble that felt both highly functional and distinctly stylish, or at least perceived as such during that specific period. It was a fashion trend that perfectly encapsulated the generally carefree ambience of the 70s, an era when personal style often prioritized self-expression and confidently embracing a bit of individuality. What are your memories of these 70s trends? Share your stories in the comments below. Lava lamps. You couldn't walk into a cool kid's room or a groovy den in the 70s without spotting one. The lava lamp. It was practically required decor. Watching those globs of colored wax slowly rise, fall, and morph inside the glass tube was mesmerizing, almost hypnotic, wasn't it? They didn't give off much light, but that wasn't the point. It was all about the vibe, that slow, psychedelic, chill atmosphere they created. They were the perfect visual representation of that funky, laid-back decade. Just pure, groovy mood lighting. American Pie. The 1970s fostered significant musical experimentation and narrative depth, sometimes resulting in lyrics that resembled intricate puzzles more than direct statements. Consider Don McLean's legendary track, American Pie, for instance. Who exactly was the jester? What did the king's thorny crown symbolize? And just who was the character named Jack? We engaged in endless debates over these lyrical enigmas, formulating our own unique interpretations and theories. This ambiguity was intrinsically part of the song's appeal. The inherent mystery significantly enhanced its enduring allure and sparked countless conversations among listeners. Polaroid cameras. Long before smartphones and the ease of digital photography, Polaroid cameras represented the pinnacle of immediate photographic gratification. You would capture an image, and within moments, a tangible print would eject, gradually materializing into full view right before your eyes. The process felt genuinely magical, and who could possibly resist the ingrained impulse to vigorously shake those developing pictures, operating under the common belief that this action somehow expedited the chemical process? While likely ineffective, it became an integral, almost ritualistic part of the distinctive Polaroid experience. And then there was the phenomenon of the television sign-off. Broadcasting wasn't a continuous, 24/7 operation in that era. At a designated time, late in the evening, typically around midnight or 1 a.m., television stations would cease transmission for the night. This cessation was often marked by the playing of the national anthem, a patriotic montage, the display of a test pattern, or sometimes simply by the screen dissolving into static noise. It served as an unambiguous signal that the day's programming had concluded, implicitly suggesting it was time for viewers to retire for the night, reminding us of the world existing beyond the television screen. What are your memories of watching TV in the 70s? Share your stories in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more nostalgic journeys back in time. Passing notes. Remember the clandestine thrill of hastily scribbling a message onto a carefully folded piece of paper, then surreptitiously passing it to a friend, all while under the teacher's potentially watchful gaze? It constituted a high-stakes endeavor, a genuine test of one's stealth capabilities and cleverness, and a consequence of being caught that could prove utterly mortifying. The teacher might confiscate the illicit note and proceed to read its contents aloud to the entire classroom, thereby exposing your private thoughts, or perhaps just your less-than-perfect handwriting, for universal scrutiny and potential embarrassment. Do you recall the story about Mikey, the notoriously picky eater from the Life cereal advertisements? The widely circulated tale claimed he met an untimely demise after consuming Pop Rocks candy simultaneously with Coca-Cola. This stands as a quintessential urban legend, a cautionary narrative frequently shared on school playgrounds and whispered during sleepovers. Lacking the immediate fact-checking capabilities provided by the internet, we depended entirely on word-of-mouth transmission, allowing our imaginations to embellish these stories dramatically. Naturally, Mikey suffered no such explosive fate, yet the myth endured, injecting a frisson of eerie excitement into our young lives and conversations. Greetings, fellow alumni of the 70s classroom. Today, we embark on a nostalgic journey back to the educational environment of the 1970s, recalling the fundamental school supplies, the peculiar toys that provided diversion, and the distinctive technology responsible for generating our worksheets. Remember the dependable wooden pencil? It served as the undisputed workhorse of our academic endeavors, a straightforward yet essential instrument for writing, sketching, and inevitably, doodling during less engaging lectures. And let us not overlook the pencil case, often a veritable repository containing erasers, sharpeners, and perhaps even a slide rule, a symbol of scholarly aspiration, even if its actual operation remains somewhat mysterious to many of us. Silly putty. Then there existed silly putty, that remarkably stretchy, bouncy compound offering boundless amusement. A favorite activity involved pressing it firmly onto newspaper comic strips, thereby creating amusingly distorted replicas of beloved cartoon characters. This represented a distinctly low-tech method of propagating visual humor, essentially sharing memes long before the concept or terminology of internet memes had even been conceived. Its tactile nature and simple magic provided hours of fun. Schoolhouse Rock. Saturday mornings held a special, almost sacred status. We would rise early, prepare a bowl of often sugary cereal, and eagerly position ourselves for several hours dedicated to animated escapades. Yet, interspersed among the recurring superheroes, anthropomorphic animals, and zany comedic situations, existed a uniquely different type of programming that consistently captured our focus. Schoolhouse Rock. Through its incredibly catchy musical numbers and ingeniously simple animation, Schoolhouse Rock effectively imparted knowledge about grammar, American history, scientific principles, and even mathematics. We learned about conjunctions via the unforgettable Conjunction Junction song, committed multiplication tables to memory with My Hero, Zero, and gained insights into the functioning of the U.S. government through I'm Just a Bill. Jaws. Steven Spielberg's groundbreaking 1975 film terrified moviegoers globally, instantly transforming an ordinary excursion to the beach into a potentially perilous encounter with a massive, predatory shark. Suddenly, even seemingly benign lakes and ponds acquired an aura of menace, and the mere sound of the iconic two-note Jaws theme music could induce involuntary shivers. However, fear wasn't the sole enduring impact of Jaws. It also inadvertently inspired a widespread trend of shark-themed imaginative play, with children mimicking the fearsome aquatic predator, playfully pursuing friends through water bodies with presumably harmless chomping gestures, turning fear into fun. Playgrounds. And let's definitely recall the playgrounds characteristic of our youth. These were certainly not the meticulously padded, safety-engineered structures prevalent today. Playgrounds in the 70s were predominantly constructed from metal, featuring unforgiving asphalt or packed earth surfaces and equipment that often seemed implicitly designed to challenge our physical boundaries and occasionally test the resilience of our bones. We would swing daringly high, aspiring to complete a full rotation over the bar, or vigorously spin the merry-go-round until companions were centrifugally ejected like unsecured rag dolls. It was an era defined by skinned knees, bruised egos, and a substantial, regular dose of adrenaline-fueled fun. Sunscreen? In the context of the 1970s, sunscreen hadn't yet become the nearly universal summer necessity it is considered today. We tended to revere the sun, deliberately exposing ourselves to its rays for extended periods, hoping to cultivate the ideal golden tan, though frequently resulting instead in painful sunburns. There weren't constant admonitions regarding SPF ratings or the inherent dangers posed by ultraviolet radiation. Many would apply baby oil or specific tanning lotions, aiming to expedite the bronzing effect. It undeniably reflects a very different cultural attitude towards sun exposure and skincare compared to present norms. Charlie's Angels. But the 70s offered more than just aspirations of sun-bronzed skin. This decade also introduced us to the instantly iconic crime-fighting trio known as Charlie's Angels. These exceptionally glamorous private investigators, distinguished by their signature feathered hairstyles, fashionable attire, and impressive proficiency in martial arts, thoroughly captivated television audiences across the globe. Young girls aspired to emulate them, adolescent boys harbored crushes on them, and virtually everyone tuned in weekly to witness their latest thrilling exploits. Whether your allegiance lay with Team Jacqueline Smith, Team Kate Jackson, or Team Farrah Fawcett, whose legendary poster graced innumerable bedroom walls, Charlie's Angels became synonymous with female empowerment and epitomized 70s chic. Hitchhiking. Consider the practice of hitchhiking. During the 70s, it wasn't viewed with the same level of apprehension or considered the taboo activity it often is today. If an individual required transportation, extending a thumb by the roadside was a common recourse, and there was a reasonable expectation that a driver would eventually stop and provide a ride. This reflected a period characterized by arguably greater interpersonal trust and a stronger sense of community connection along highways. People seemed generally more inclined to offer assistance to strangers, whether that involved giving a lift or helping change a flat tire. It signifies a different social dynamic, where acts of kindness from unfamiliar individuals felt less remarkable than they might seem currently. Star Wars. In discussing profound shared cultural experiences, we must acknowledge the monumental arrival of Star Wars in 1977. This revolutionary motion picture transported us to a galaxy situated far, far away, introducing iconic elements like lightsabers, the mystical force, and unforgettable archetypal characters such as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. It represented nothing short of a cinematic paradigm shift, weaving a narrative that seized the imaginations of an entire generation. Star Wars transcended being just another film. It rapidly evolved into a pervasive cultural phenomenon that fundamentally altered the science fiction genre's landscape and continues to resonate deeply with enthusiasts of all ages. Vinyl records. Music in the 70s? That meant vinyl records, pure and simple. There was something so satisfying about the whole ritual, wasn't there? Flipping through albums at the record store, admiring those big, bold covers which are often real works of art, then taking it home, sliding the disc out, carefully placing the needle down, and hearing that little crackle before the music swelled up. The sound was warmer, richer somehow. Fleetwood Mac, Led Zeppelin, the Bee Gees. They sounded right on vinyl. It wasn't just listening, it was an entire experience we cherished back then. Saturday mornings in the 70s just weren't complete without Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? That show had the perfect formula. A spooky mystery, those meddling kids, Fred, Daphne, Velma, trying to figure out, and of course Shaggy and Scooby-Doo providing the laughs and the appetite. They'd pile into the mystery machine, chase some ghosts that turn out to be Old Man Withers and Sheet, and wrap it all up with I Would Have Gotten Away with It Too. Classic. Roo-Row, Raggy became part of the language. Simple, silly, and absolutely unforgettable fun for us kids. Clackers. Remember Clackers? Those two heavy acrylic balls on a string? What a simple idea for a toy. But man, were they addictive and kind of hazardous. The whole point was to get them swinging up and down, smacking together above and below your hand, making that incredibly loud clack, clack, clack sound. The faster you went, the better you were, but one wrong move and whack. You got a nasty bruise on your knuckles or wrist. They were noisy, a little dangerous. Some schools actually banned them. But getting the rhythm just right felt like a real accomplishment. It took practice and nerve. Definitely a toy that defined childhood risk-taking in the 70s. Saturday morning cartoons. And who could overlook the absolute zenith of our youthful week Saturday morning cartoons? This period felt almost sacred, offering a portal into realms populated by superheroes, zany escapades, and uproarious comedy. Missing your preferred program meant a long wait until the next Saturday arrived. On-demand viewing or DVRs were non-existent. Only the potent anticipation for that precise broadcast time slot existed. It cultivated patience within us, undeniably amplifying the magic inherent in those Saturday mornings, making the wait worthwhile. Evel Knievel. Speaking of audacious exploits, the 70s also belonged to the legendary Evel Knievel. This iconic daredevil held audiences spellbound with his perilous motorcycle jumps. He launched himself over canyons, fleets of buses, even elaborate fountains. Evel Knievel transcended being merely a stunt performer. He became a cultural icon, embodying the spirit of pushing limits and confronting danger head-on. His influence extended far beyond television screens. Neighborhood streets nationwide buzzed with kids constructing rudimentary ramps, attempting their own, considerably less ambitious leaps using Tonka trucks, skateboards, or whatever wheel contraptions were available. Safety, admittedly, often took a back seat. Apologies, Mom. Tang. And who could possibly forget Tang? This vibrant orange-flavored powdered beverage, initially launched in the late 1950s, truly achieved widespread popularity in the 1970s, largely fueled by its association with the NASA space program. Tang was cleverly promoted as the drink of astronauts, implying it possessed essential vitamins and nutrients capable of powering cosmic exploration. The actual experience, as astronaut Buzz Aldrin later conceded, was somewhat less inspiring. While Tang might not have been a gourmet delight, for a time, many eagerly mixed and sipped the brightly colored drink, perhaps harboring a small hope it imparted a touch of astronautical prowess. The bowl cut. Then there's the unforgettable bowl cut. This particular hairstyle, defined by its sharply horizontal bangs and meticulously trimmed perimeter, served almost as a standard uniform for youngsters during the 70s. It represented an uncomplicated, minimal upkeep style that parents found highly manageable, requiring little more than a household bowl and shears. Even young girls frequently sported bangs cut in this style, lending an intriguing androgynous quality to their appearance during that time. Macrame. And how could we possibly omit the macrame phenomenon? Truly, this knotted craft seemed ubiquitous. From plant hangers transforming living rooms into veritable indoor jungles, to intricate wall hangings and those characteristic macrame owls, this trend proliferated significantly. Macrame aligned perfectly with the prevailing 70s aesthetic organic, promoting DIY creativity and infused with a bohemian spirit. Furthermore, it offered a relatively affordable method for personalizing one's living space and infusing it with handmade warmth and character. Ottomans. Now, visualize this scene, relaxing in your quintessentially avocado green living room. And what furnishing catches your eye? An ottoman, naturally. These typically round, upholstered seats were practically standard issue in 70s homes. While ostensibly designed as footrests for children, they served myriad purposes. They transformed into interstellar spacecraft, solitary islands amidst a sea of shag carpeting, and the ideal landing pad for practicing dramatic superhero arrivals. Who among us hasn't fantasized about soaring like Superman, only to execute a soft thump onto a reliable ottoman? Aluminum cans. Consider beverage containers in the 70s. These weren't the streamlined, integrated pop-top cans familiar today. Instead, they resembled robust cylinders featuring a distinctive opening system, the pull tab. One would grip the small metal ring, exert a firm pull, and a triangular aperture would emerge, providing access to the refreshing liquid within. Unfortunately, these detached pull tabs carried a significant downside. They were frequently discarded carelessly, becoming hazardous litter in parks, on beaches, and even within swimming pools. Accidentally stepping on one of these sharp metallic pieces could lead to a painful injury. Ultimately, widespread public safety concerns prompted a necessary redesign, leading to the modern stay-on tab, making public spaces considerably safer and tidier. Don't forget to share your own 70s memories in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more nostalgic trips down memory lane. Smoking. During the 1970s, cigarette smoking was remarkably pervasive. Individuals commonly lit up in restaurants, workplaces, commercial airplanes, essentially everywhere. The concept of secondhand smoke and its associated health risks was not a subject of widespread public discourse, and the full extent of smoking's dangers wasn't as universally acknowledged as it is presently. From candy cigarettes marketed to children to the ruggedly iconic Marlboro Man advertising campaigns, smoking was, to a certain degree, even imbued with an aura of glamour. It reflects a distinctly different societal landscape regarding tobacco use. Photo booths. While smartphones capable of instant selfies remain decades in the future, we possessed our own distinct method for capturing playful moments with companions: the venerable photo booth. These unmistakable enclosures were common fixtures in arcades, shopping malls, and even certain amusement parks. You would assemble your friends, cram yourselves into the confined space, often leading to comical contortions, and strike poses for a rapid sequence of flashes. The resulting black and white photographs emerged printed on a vertical strip, frequently featuring amusingly distorted expressions, awkward perspectives, and occasionally an unexpected photobombing intrusion. CB radios. Next up, CB radios. Initially the preserve of long-haul truckers, these compact communication devices ignited a massive fad during the 70s. Suddenly, it seemed everyone yearned to connect with anonymous voices across the airwaves, adopting handles like Rubber Ducky or Silver Fox. Phrases like 10 to 4, Good Buddy, or the introductory Breaker, 19 became common parlance. CB radios fostered a unique sense of connection, offering a means to interact in an increasingly fragmented world. They injected a dose of thrill and adventure into daily routines, especially for kids eavesdropping on adult conversations, though occasionally sensitive ears needed covering. The Brady Bunch. Let's begin with the phenomenon that was the Brady Bunch. Seriously, who wasn't charmed by this show? It depicted the quintessential blended family, featuring 3 boys, 3 girls, the indispensable live-in housekeeper Alice, and Tiger the dog. Admittedly, its portrayal leaned heavily towards the idyllic, perhaps a touch too sunshine and rainbows for stark reality, yet that was precisely its appeal for countless viewers then. Amidst a decade marked by flux and uncertainty, the Brady Bunch presented a reassuring tableau of familial concord. It served as a comforting fantasy, a relatable escape, even if our own family dynamics were considerably more, let's say, eventful. Lunchboxes. These were decidedly not the pliable plastic sacks or contemporary insulated carriers. We're referring to sturdy metal containers seemingly engineered to shield your peanut butter and jelly sandwich from virtually any calamity short of Armageddon. Yet, the true allure of these lunchboxes resided in their decoration. They serve as mobile canvases proudly displaying our cherished superheroes, television personalities, and pop culture figures. Superman, Batman, Evel Knievel, the $6 Million Man if they were popular, they likely graced a lunchbox. These containers transcended mere food storage. They functioned as declarations of identity, signaling allegiance to beloved heroes. Atari Pong. Long before kids had fancy game systems plugged into every TV, we had Pong. It seems almost laughable now, right? Just two little lines batting a square speck back and forth on the screen. But let me tell you, in the early 70s, Atari's Pong felt like something straight out of science fiction. It was basically electronic table tennis. Yet the simple magic of actually controlling something on the screen, that was brand new, utterly captivating. It might look primitive today, but back then, Pong wasn't just a game. It was the future arriving in our living rooms, kicking off the whole video game craze. Pet rocks. Let's delve into the peculiar phenomenon of the pet rock. Yes, precisely that, an ordinary stone, ingeniously marketed as a companion animal. It seems utterly bizarre from today's perspective. Yet during the mid-70s, these simple objects became astonishingly popular. Each arrived nestled in its own miniature cardboard carrier, accompanied by a humorous care and training manual. The brilliance, or perhaps the sheer absurdity, lay in its utter simplicity. It demanded zero maintenance, required no feeding or walks, and was guaranteed never to abscond. It served as a witty, satirical take on the burgeoning pet industry, and for a fleeting period, practically everyone wanted to partake in the novelty. No selfies, no stories, no endless scrolling, just memories made in real time. If this trip down memory lane gave you all the nostalgic feels, don't forget to like, comment your favorite throwback, and hit subscribe for more retro goodness. Until next time, stay groovy and keep it analog.